you've joined an ideology of a person who we chased away because we didn't get the satisfaction.
You are speaking the truth and you hate the truth.
No. Rigathi Gachagua.
Yours is a government of lies.
No.
By lies.
Rigathi Gachagua
founded on lies.
Is in fact the worst deputy president or vice president that this country has had. Because...
And William Ruto is the worst president we've had.
Hey there, and welcome to Head to Head here on Fanya Mambo Africa, the Alpha House. Another exciting episode. Another episode that we're going head to head. And this for me is a very interesting episode because it's kind of a family affair, but it's very interesting to have these two guests on the show. On my left, I have with me KARIUKI NGUNJIRI, and to the far end, we have Fanya Mambo himself. Karibuni sana Alpha House.
Thank you very much.
How is it going?
Tough, of course.
Tough for you?
With Ruto, it's tough.
It's tough?
Yeah, it has to be.
KARIUKI?
Fantastic. We are on the verge of getting to 76,000 new teachers employed through the JSS framework. This week, again, we have achieved the 400,000 young people threshold working in the housing program. Then this week, again, the president has... the program that was supposed to assist farmers, the money that he unlocked 2 weeks ago, already we can confirm on the ground that those resources have gotten to the relevant people. Again, as we speak, the government of Kenya is working very hard. 2 days ago, launched a fantastic program to reach young people, over 100,000 of them in every ward in this country, to give them 50,000 to provide training at work, skills development, the digital superhighway, and to give them startup capital of up to 50,000 Kenyan shillings. So it is a fantastic time for the Kenya Kwanza administration.
That's very interesting. Fanya Mambo, are you aware? You see all those things you mentioned, like 4 programs.
They are sickening.
In a minute of what the government has done. 4
sickening programs. Go tell that terrible administration of yours, because it's a terrible one, that you don't come and make it impossible for people to go through high school, because so many cases, I can give you cases, even in Dagoretti where I come from. So many people are not able to go through high school now because of this stupid school funding model. They are not doing capitation to schools. Why do you want to refuse to do capitation to schools so that children can drop out of school, and then you start looking for them to give them 50,000 shillings or whatever nonsense you're talking about? I mean, 100,000 young people per ward. Ward gani? Kwetu Waithaka kuna 19,000 people. Motoini has 12,000 people. That's the whole number of people. The other ward there, Rirota, has got about 40,000. Easy 100,000 people mnatoa wapi kwa ward. The whole of Dagoretti South constituency is 120,000 voters. So what we are trying to say is, first, Kenya Kwanza has got their figures wrong. By the way, wanaongeanga vitu unaweza fikiria they are saints. But when you go to the Kenya demographic and ask them, hizi statistics mnatoa wapi? Ni ward gani iko na 100,000?
No, I said...
In fact, Lamu County has 70,000.
100,000 young people across the country, but 70 per ward. So if
70 people per ward?
Yes. So if you take...
As in 1 to 70?
Yes, 1 to 70. So that can... I give an example of where I come from, Ginda ward. It has 7 sub-locations. So it is a split of 10, 10, 10, 10. You split 10, 10, 10. You have how many shopping centers? In my sub-location, they are about 6. So you split again 10, you even have an overflow of about 4 that can be taken to other areas within the corners of that ward. In fact, as we speak today, and the question of the school funding model, remember, the system of education that we have right now was one that was not predicted in previous administrations. And even if you call a professor from Harvard to this program, they will tell you, and those who have an experience in the education sector, every program, be it the Social Health Authority program, be it the housing program, any program that begins from zero, one that has never been tested, begins with its own unique challenges. And it's through those challenges that people learn and are able to figure out and have a better way of making it work in the future 100%. So no program, by the way, the university funding model, the housing program, all these programs are man-made, and there's no program that begins from a perfect score. And that's why I'm telling you, this section that looks at the education sector has had various reforms. And if you can remember, the presidential working party was looking at some of these challenges that we are facing in the university funding model. And students were actually involved. They gave their views.
Were their views taken?
Now, this is what happens, and this is what happened. The president had an intention of bringing equity. Equity means that you give to the deserving what they deserve. It's arguably, a society that has different tracks. Of course, people say there is the pawns, normal people, they are the middle class, and then there are those who are up there. Now, I also agree with the president when he says you don't need somebody who earns a salary of over 300,000 going to queue at a chief's camp for a bursary of 10,000. There's a needy kid, mashinani, who needs that bursary more. So that equity was the one that was supposed to come in and sort out the problem so that those who need assistance can get it from government. Now, the problem that we face from people like Fanya Mambo is because they are in opposition, it's very easy to point out and
No. Sarah, you allow him
and critic
a lot
the
of time to lie to Kenyans.
It's a problem that we have faced since this country was free, and no administration, by the way, has been able to do such quick reforms in a very short while. Since independence.
Since independence.
Sarah,
Since independence, have you seen such reforms?
I used to know this young man when he was a lot more honest until he joined UDA.
Are you saying he's not?
No, he's being economical with the truth.
I have heard that from opposition guys so many times.
Let's have this conversation. When Mwai Kibaki left us, there was free primary education. I mean, every other person knew that primary education was free.
Yeah.
If someone gave you a bursary check for primary school and you went and found that the school is free, where would you take that check? The conversation I want us to have as a country is why is free primary education not possible? Not why we are giving bursaries and to who. That nonsense of bursary must come to an end. The problem is not bursary. The problem is the government that is giving you a check in the form of bursary. Can you imagine government? Mi hata sijui akili walipeleka wapi. How do you make sure that primary school is being paid for? It's a government school. And then you come and give me, Bado, a check from the same government to take to a school that belongs to the same government so that it becomes my fees. Why don't you just go back to where Kibaki left us and say, primary school education is supposed to be free? Tuone hizo machecks za bursaries zitaenda wapi? We can kill this conversation of bursaries once and for all.
So duplication of
let me tell you, I started a conversation last year when I spoke about why we need to abolish bursaries. And this conversation was picked up by Senator Karongo Adhango. It was picked up by the Speaker of the National Assembly. In fact, on the 23rd of August, he gave directions. And as late as 30th of April this year, he created a committee headed by Junet Mohammed, who is working with this blood-based government. And they, at Parliament, told us that the total amount of monies amalgamated that amount to this rubbish called bursary is 104 billion. But we all know that the total amount of money that goes to capitation for schools is 27 billion. So all this rubbish is 4 times. So if we remove all this nonsense called bursary and put it into primary school and high schools directly, that issue of university funding model would end. I mean, the school of capitation for primary school and the whole bursaries, that whole nonsense would end. So the conversation we need to have with this government is simple. How do we make primary school free? And how do we make high school free? How do we stop all these bursaries from flowing? MCA, MP, governor, senator, Govt. We abolish them. We amalgamate them. And it is enough money to educate our children for 4 years. This is the conversation that Junet Mohammed's committee is having in parliament now, courtesy of Fanya Mambo, Kinuthia. So let us not have these conversations. It's just telling you that within government, there are people who've just refused to think.
You see,
because if they were thinking, we would not be having a conversation about capitation to schools and giving bursaries to parents who are in the name of this one is deserving, this one is less diverse. Just make education free.
Does the president, because you work for the president's party, does the president want to have a functional education? And if yes, are these proposals that he would consider?
You see, you must first think about why that bursary thing has been there for all this time.
Political pawn, perhaps?
The rationale behind the bursary program is not what he's talking about. Because
what is it for?
Free primary education means that students go to a classroom. They can have a teacher coming to teach them. They will have books. They will have lockers. They will have pens. And they will do their examinations for free. That is what free primary education Bakiwe is. Mm-hmm. Which means
And you were a beneficiary.
Yes, I was a beneficiary, by the way. But, with the changing times, how society is now growing, there are other additives to the education sector. There are young people, there are students who want to go and study in some primary schools that have been converted. They have mixed day and boarding. I went to the Dhuramji Primary School, which has both day and boarding. So which means that if I need to study in that primary school as a boarding student, there's some money that I need to add to facilitate that. If
we were to combine all these bursaries, wouldn't then the government fix that,
now,
such that a child wouldn't have to pay?
The question here is, does the economic realities of our country allow us to open up, for instance, Dhuramji Primary School to host all those students as boarding school students?
But not everyone would be a boarding student.
The balance, yes. Now that
would be a choice.
That's what the balance is. If you want to go and study, you are a bright student, you want to go and study in boarding school, you can still go, but because you are not able to pay all the money that is required in boarding school, you have an opportunity through the government to apply for a bursary to boost, your school fees.
You're speaking a lot of English about nothing, my friend.
This is what the opposition really do not understand, that these realities that have come with the changing times cannot just be wished away in a day. We wake up and say that we will not have bursaries because we want to combine all this and decide that people will follow one line, that you only go to school the government way, or all this money is put into one place and everybody follows that. This is a society that everybody has a choice to make.
Okay, let me push this forward. That's a very interesting point, and I'll pick it up from there. Fanya Mambo, yesterday we saw cancer patients demonstrating. He's saying that you cannot put all these monies together and have a system functioning in a certain way. We have SHIF, which he said is functional, but then we saw cancer patients on the street. Why is it that we were able to put money to put SHIF together, but we can't do the same for education?
I have always told you, the figures I'm telling you did not come from me. The idea came from me, but the figures are coming from Parliament. The person heading that committee is Junet Mohammed, and he has a 13-member committee. And the conversations they are having, they can see. Literally speaking, they can see that it is actually possible to have primary school education being free and high school education being free, but hawataki. Because bursary checks have made them demigods. If you come to Dagoretti where I stay, watu wanaletangu hapo asubuhi 9. Munakalishwa chini, munapatiwa government propaganda the whole day. Anything the MP tells you at that time you can do, because you're desperate to live with a check of 3,000 or 5,000. But let me make it more interesting to you. They come and brag on their social media platforms. We've given 5,000 parents checks of 5,000 shillings each. It is true. But when you take checks of 5,000 shillings and give to 5,000 parents, each parent akichukua hiyo check apeleke shule, atalipa a check processing fee of 120 shillings. It's not the parent, itakatwa. Any bank will tell you that. So 120 shillings times 5,000 checks, that is 600,000 lost in one single constituency on check processing fees only. If you multiply that by more than 290 constituencies, simple maths, 600,000 times, let's actually multiply by 3 so that we say there are 300 constituencies. And I have put that is because the women reps also have, and ANGAF, and the governors have their own, and senators, and so on and so forth. You're talking of check processing fees of in excess of 1.8 billion. How many children would that money educate surely? So there's a lot of money that is being lost to nonsense. I am saying, as government, take this 104 billion yenye ilikuwa inadistributiwa inapatiwa magavana, maseneta, ma-MP, manini, and instead of giving those politicians to give us checks, take that 104 billion directly into the accounts of the school. Believe you me, there will be surplus. It is actually possible to wake up one morning and say, how much money are we giving to MPs for bursary? Because half of CDF, by the literally goes to bursaries. Like in my constituency, they usually say they've given bursaries of 45 million. CDF is about 100 million. So if you take all that money, I'm telling you, and put it directly into the school's accounts, we will educate all our children for free. So let us stop having a conversation about bursary. Let us start having a conversation about money that is being given to politicians to dish out to people so that those people can take that money to school. Sijui kama unashika the irony. You're putting people... No, look here, Kariuki. You're putting people together so that you give them checks so that they can take those checks to schools. And those schools belong to government. Why can't government put that money into the schools completely and then you don't have to put people in a room to give them bursary? What is so hard in that?
The politicians' part comes only because those in opposition perhaps would think that the administration that have come before us, some didn't think the way he does, but the way the governance of our country is structured, the administrative part of what he's talking about, which is in distributing that money to as a function of a member of parliament, was thought way back, and the intentions were to bring the equity that I talked about to balance not just the power, not just how the people want it done, but also for the sake of bringing order and having a streamlined way of reaching out to the people. Assuming today that you have, like you said, a school getting money being put into these accounts, and you have previously you have seen primary schools that wants to be head teachers that want to be so ambitious, and they have intentionally themselves decided to shift money that has been given by parents away from the core functions of what that money is supposed to do, and end up using that money for projects that do not even benefit those students at that time. Is it
that a systematic problem that the government can fix? Because the head teacher is not...
Now you see...
should not prevent a government.
In the political system of our country, in the governance system of our country, a member of parliament who has some of these functions has money that comes into that kitty of bursaries intentionally to, most of the times,
to campaign with.
No, it's don't look at it the political way. It's to identify.
What's the other way of looking at it?
You see, we have a country that has now going to 40-something million Kenyans. You understand? It is impossible at the moment for the government to provide that level of education that we have for countries in Europe, Britain and other countries. Our reach can only right now serve those that really need these bursaries, those that need to get some of these assistance.
You are wrong.
Okay.
There are people who actually take their students to international schools.
Those are mostly our ministers. They're always portraying their children's growing.
Why do they take them there?
So why would a child whose brothers and sisters are studying somewhere in Australia go to line up for a bursary of 5,000 shillings? I mean, let's give it to that mama mboga who can't afford school fees for their child.
But because what he proposed would solve that problem.
No, do you know why it wouldn't? And I told you about that point. It will remain that we will take the population of our young people in schools, have mathematics of how many do we need to divide this amount, and then do a calculation per student of the amount of money that's supposed to be sent in schools.
Okay,
then budget based on that. I said that because
that's why we have
the politicians.
We have the Ministry of Treasury to do that work.
The politicians that he's talking about are the ones who actually understand the realities on the ground. The MCS are the ones who knows there's a student in this area who has been sent home because of school fees.
Okay, let me push this one with a very simple question, and this goes to both of you. When you saw cancer patients demonstrate, how did that make you feel?
I'll tell you. It's not just cancer patients.
Yeah, but
those are
the ones who went to demonstrate.
It's also women who had been locked up in hospitals, having given birth at Thika Level 4 and at Eldoret.
Yes.
Because this shasheshishoshu is not working. And they don't want that to come out. It's annoying. And that's why we are telling you, Mr. KARIUKI, I want you to understand very simple English. Please, in the name of God. The total amount of money we need to put in our primary schools and secondary schools is about 27 billion per year. Paka hapo umeelewa. Now, number 2. The total amount of money we are taking and giving to politicians to start coming dishing out is 100 billion per year. If we stop giving this 100 billion per year, it is possible that we can put this money directly into the schools and education will be free. Now, also, let me tell you something. When you've made education free in that particular way, you therefore don't need bursaries. You are saying at some principals will steal money. Kwani hii yenye mnawapatia check inaenda kwa account gani? It's the same account that the principals would have stolen. No, listen to me. It's the same amount, it's the same account that the principals would have stolen. Kwa hivyo hata hii ya bursary wanaiba. Let us be conscious and let us just use very basic common sense that all we need to do is to stop scattering money all over. Is to say, kila mtoto wako na NEMIS. Hii NEMIS number, mtoto wako shule gani? Already, Minister Mbadi asha sema what the government is able to provide for every high school going child is 16,800. Where did he get that figure from? And then you go ahead and give MPs some checks in bursary form. What we should have done, the same way Mbadi wants to put 16,800 into every school, we ask, let us remove all this rubbish called bursary. And now instead of Mbadi sending 16,800 per child to every school, because the bursary money has come, they can even send 30,000 per child to every school. That makes education possible. So it is the same way he was going to send 16,800 and then give politicians a lot more money to go and waste. Now he takes 16,800 plus that money he was going to give to politicians to go and waste. He pays fees for every child within this country. Education becomes free. There is no bursary. By the way, would still save over 50 billion.
The question goes back to equity. And I think
once it is free, it is equal for everybody. No, now that equity you are misusing.
I am not saying equality. I said equity.
Equity, yes. Somebody now, let's say education is free. No, KARIUKI, let's go slowly. Education is free in every school. Na hakuna mtu amebaguliwa ameambiwa kwa sababu nyinyi mko na limousine hawezi ingia Kabiria Primary School, hawezi ingia Gitaga Primary School. So what is this nonsense about equity and equality? But the school is free for any Kenyan child.
Do you know that today children that are born in
is there something more equal than free?
Avoid they avoid public schools.
Why?
And that is a discussion that it's not about the amount of money that is being sent or bursaries. I think the conversation...
Why do they avoid?
Yes, and that is the point I wanted us to come to in this conversation so that it makes sense. I guess we should be talking about making, one, infrastructure in schools. Okay? Number two, ensuring that the ratio of teachers to students is one that is fair to them today. And I have given you that point.
Whose the responsibility is it? Actually?
Yeah, and I'm coming to that. No government has employed the number of teachers that are now joining our institutions of learning.
That's a lie.
A historic one, like the Kenya Kwanza administration.
How many have they employed?
The conversation shifting, and the conversation shifting now should be, how now do we talk about school infrastructure? How do we talk about books?
Haven't we been speaking about these things, same things?
How many teachers have you people employed?
It's not about bursaries.
How many teachers have you people employed?
That hasn't been...
The quality, let's talk about the quality of education.
Haven't we questioned the quality even now, when we were in school?
Yes. I also have my own reservations when it comes to the quality of education that we have in Kenya. I believe that at this point, we have a terrible quality of education in some parts of this country. There are places that we have students not accessing the best form education, same to others. For instance, in some areas that have been dragging behind for many years, and in others, we have others doing good. How do we have a balance in these two? The Ministry of Education, in my view, should now
I'm doing your maths, don't worry.
Should now, yes, the Ministry of Education should actually now focus on providing infrastructure, making sure that we have classrooms that are equal to the number of students that we have. And number two, of course, the issue of teachers is coming up very well. And then we make sure that they have books. And in some of those areas, like for instance, in counties like Baringo, where you could see students studying under trees, provide security and make sure that as many children as possible go to school. In other places where we have a classroom taking up to 100 students, expand infrastructure, build laboratories.
That is very idealistic. And I say idealistic because that is what should be the reality,
yes.
But it's not. Now, I want to bring in a point.
And that is the role of the government.
It's the government, yes.
Build classes.
That is my question right there. The question is, the day before yesterday, the president said that he's been told to be micromanaging. He's been accused of micromanaging people. And of course, that includes his CSS. You've said the Ministry of Education is responsible. Fanya Mambo, why is the man in charge complaining of his people not working? Why then employ people who can't work if you have to micromanage them when we have technocrats in Kenya who can?
That president who they are talking of improving infrastructure in schools was in Meru the other day, Tharaka to be specific. And it was a shame, a total shame. Did you see where they put the presidential tents? Zinawekwa yani zifiche kashule nyuma mabati iena mashimo inabomoka. There is no school there. And he's doing a harambe to raise 50 million for some other institutions out there that are not even schools. And to build some churches and so many other things. Yani president hata hakuona hiyo shule vile inakaa. It's dilapidated. The deputy president is coming from an area that we have schools made of matope. This government has got their priorities wrong. When you start going around...
Tell me why he was saying he's being accused of micromanaging first.
But that's what he's always done. He's the minister for everything.
Why is he employing... I know you want to respond, but why is he employing people who can't work?
You see...
In a country of 54 million, I believe we have...
We have even gone too far. Our good friend here, KARIUKI, campaigned for this president, I think more vigorously than any other person. And I used to see him. I saw him one time. He had come to gain the award, and he had some other fellows, some young people, younger than him, less qualified than him. Sasa huwa amempatia kazi ya command gate huko kwa UDA, then these other people who are less qualified wamepatiwa better jobs. This government doesn't. Mimi nataka kutetea huyu kijana kwanza, waende whoever they are, they should make sure first they put you in a place where you make better decisions. Karis, let me tell you, listen. They are sending you here to give government propaganda.
That's not the correct position, man.
Why was the president saying that? Okay, you can. By the way, I know you. Sorry,
I needed to correct him
and tell him what you do at UDA.
I think he doesn't understand.
What do you do for UDA?
What my role is, and I'm not here to
chief government propagandist. My friend,
to chest them.
No, let him say what is.
But I don't man any gate, and in fact, if I was to man any gate, I wouldn't mind for a sitting president. I wouldn't mind to man a gate for a sitting president, and I wouldn't mind to be a security person.
But where are your peers
for a ruling government?
When you campaign now,
but whatever I'm doing is actually impactful. I will be soon making an announcement of what we intend to do for the youth of this country, and sooner than later, you'll actually see some of the issues that we have been doing behind closed doors now coming to light. And I would want him to challenge me based on the performance of that, not based on
it's been 3 years, there's no performance.
We are not doing what
you don't trust that he's now launching. He's just promised he's going to launch.
I don't trust they've put him in a place where he can. This is a brilliant young man. Let me tell you, I know him for many years.
Wait.
Wakuweke mahali utasaidia Kenya wewe.
Wait. This is not a shouting match. I am here to address what we are doing as Kenya Kwanza administration and the issues that we promised the people of Kenya. What is going on? My role in this government is clear, is to spearhead youth affairs and youth policies and make sure that there is an interchange between the Youth Manifesto for the Kenya Kwanza administration and what the party does. I am also in charge of the political affairs section for this political party.
UDA.
Yes, and my role is to make sure there is also a good synergy between what the party does, in terms of reaching out to the people, doing political communication and all that, and ensuring the message of the presidency and the president's agenda. He takes political responsibility for what happens in the country.
Yeah.
So we are the people who always, at all times, are making sure that the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto goes the way it should be, and it's outlined clearly that we had 5 agenda items.
Okay, before we go to those, I think now Fanya Mambo, you are clear. He has his job.
Now, I wanted to answer something on the president, the response on micromanaging.
Yes. Is he micromanaging you?
The president actually admitted 2 days ago. He said that people accuse him of micromanaging. But I will tell you, we had a problem in this country with the previous presidents. They thought that power was distributed in a way where if you are the vision carrier, you just leave people to mess up with your administration. The president is clear, and there is nothing wrong with the president being intentional about where he wants to take this country. There are very few people who knows what happens in a department called the Asa Regions Department as presidents in history. Many of them could not tell you what is going on at a department that deals with something that many Kenyans would not even today, if you call anybody, doesn't even know what goes on there. This president
then why appoint such a
is
person?
sober. Listen.
Why appoint someone who is not?
No, I'm saying the president is deliberate and intentional on where he wants to take this country. And if he sees like you are digressing from what in his mind is supposed to be the way, he will come in and correct you. The president understands his government from A to Z. Nobody else understands this government, the president himself. And I think that is what a leader should be.
Okay.
Yes.
Well explained. Now, we've spoken about the youth. I think I'll start with you, Fanya Mambo. President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he was in power, I think somewhere in 2018, he spoke about the youth bulge becoming a time bomb. In 2024, young people in Kenya went to the streets. So that was a sign that this time bomb that he was talking about was bursting. 2025, they went again. The year is ending. We don't know how next year happens. And we've seen the same across Africa in different nations. What is this that the president or you feel should be done to sort this? Because it's youth and employment mostly. And we'll come to you and you'll tell us what it is you're doing too.
Number one, let us stop stealing. Because that is what is killing this country. When we can't explain how 104 billion went into SHA, when we hear, the Auditor General is always telling us, eCitizen money is not going to the consolidated fund. She's always telling us this money is, unaweza amka usiku moja, eCitizen has lost 15 billion, has lost 40 billion. These people are not being arrested. Love tunaambiwa tulipe school fees into that very account. So let us first stop this idea that people can steal government money the way they want and get away with it. That has to stop. Mm-hmm. Then secondly, you cannot come and start making interventions za kupatia youth boda, kupatia youth maharagwe, machine za salon, and all that thing that they are calling economic empowerment. Whereas when you had a chance to pay for them school fees at high school, you refused. When you had a chance to pay for them university fees, you found HELB, a system that was working. Then you come and create a terrible, horrible one that is not working, and then you start telling us it has teething problems. Why are you creating teething problems for a system that was already working? We needed to improve on HELB. NHIF was not excellent, but NHIF was improvable. It would have been improved, it would have worked. So to help our young people first, let us start with those who are already in high school, to make sure that none of them will drop out before they finish because of lack of fees. Let us help those who are in university to make sure that none of them, sahi group za harambe za university, sisi wote tumejaa watu wana school fees ya watoto wenye wameenda university, because the funding model they brought is terrible. Now, once they are done, why are opportunities in this country shrinking? For example, you come to any sector you can speak about. The other day, until we made noise, they were planning to import 500,000 metric tons of rice. Anybody who comes from anywhere close to Mwea will tell you the only reason our rice is expensive is because moving it from the farm to where they sell it up a Mwea township, you pay 800 shillings per bag because of how terrible those roads are. Our young people work. The only thing that is making our rice expensive, usidanganywe, we've taken time, we've spoken, and speak to the people of Mwea, they'll tell you. The cost of moving one bag from where it's been produced to where you need it at Mwea shopping center is 800 shillings. So they prefer to start importing that rice. And then our rice starts rotting in Mwea. They'll lie to you that we have a deficit. Iko deficit yenye mnahesabu, lakini ile iko kwa mashamba ijafika mahali inahesabiwa. So there's a lot of things we can do to empower young people, including the stopping of importation of rubbish. Why are we importing toothpicks 60 years after independence? Why can't we make a bicycle 60 years after independence? Why are we importing old underwear for our people many years after independence? So when we start saying that there are things that Kenya cannot import anymore, we shall now create the manufacturing industry to grow. Taxation is at an all-time high. Any young person who wants to start anything, KRA iko hapo. Kanjo iko hapo. Kwanza sasa kanjo ndio terrible kabisa. So we want to empower young people, but we want to be the ones at the center of empowering them, instead of just making economic policies that make it easy for them to do work for themselves.
Okay. Mr. KARIUKI, what's the president doing about the youth bulge?
This week, the principal secretaries were on the ground. They were responding to our Kenya Kwanza Youth Manifesto. Previously, the 2022 election, we talked about creating opportunities for the youth. And for the first time in history, a government has deliberately and in very clear terms responded to an issue in their manifesto in such an open and simple fashion. The principal secretaries were speaking to these young people and asking them to log in through *254#, where you go and select the options that you want to indulge into. I called...
This is the Nyota program?
Yes, I called the chief from my locality and I asked him what he's doing about the Nyota program. And he told me the training was simple and clear, that these young people that are interested in starting businesses and getting training and acquiring new skills on entrepreneurship, in my ward already and in my sub-location, have so far already begun applying for this, and they are interested and are going to be part of this revolution.
Who are the specific targets?
The
like
specific target is between the age of 18 years to 29 years.
So graduates,
yes.
Form 4 leavers.
So these are people who are 18 to 29 is actually somebody who is trying to figure out what they want to do in life. They still haven't settled. They are the super majority.
How different is it from, what was the other one called?
The
Hustler Fund.
No, Hustler Fund was supposed to boost these common entrepreneurs at the grassroots. But now the difference with the Hustler Fund, you remember Hustler Fund was the first of its type to ever happen in the history of this country. The challenge that faced Hustler Fund, and it's clear if you ask even people here in this room, even those that are not speaking on this platform, they are or know somebody who has borrowed Hustler Fund and they did not pay back. And that kind of threw the government into a very bad position, because the program was supposed to revolve where somebody takes a loan and then repays and then...
But why do you think they're not paying? Because you see, that's what, when you talk about teething problems,
yes,
you sit down and look at it and see and question the why. Because you see, now we're launching another program for unemployed.
This is an improvement. The concept of the Hustler Fund now improved in a manner that has a clear way of tracking these people. Somebody comes, starts a business, they are in a cooperative or they have a company or whatever. They are people that you can actually track and know how they are doing in their businesses. They have mentorship. They understand that you're getting into this business to do A, B, C, D. These are the advantages and disadvantages. But again, you asked what the president is doing for the young people. Not just that. As we speak, you remember we had, in the last administration, there was what they used to call Kazi Mtaani. And to reflect the realities of today, the president has launched something called the Climate Works. It's a program that is employing 12,000 young Kenyans to help us in the Mazingira initiative and help us improve these towns. Already you've seen the reforms by the Nairobi Rivers Commission. They're supposed to bring back the sanity in our Mazingira initiative. Again, in the housing program, by the way, and that was one of the pet projects of the president. He was very intentional with it because he knew that if we have constructions going all over the country, in Embu, where you come from, look at the huge, fantastic market, the affordable housing project. I don't remember the specific name of that place. Go to every other counties where we are having stadiums coming up. As we speak, the stadium in Kitui is almost complete to host the next national celebrations.
So all these are the projects that have been employing people.
Yes.
I just have a question before you continue. All these programs are basically for let's say artisan jobs.
No.
No. Let me finish my point.
Yes.
a graduate. I am a graduate. He's a graduate.
Yes.
And so many others in the room.
Yes.
What do you do about those ones? Because every year universities, I think your university or your alma mater KU maybe graduates about 5,000.
Yes. So
my alma JKUAT does the same. So when you put all these graduates together, we can't all fit kwa mjengo.
Yes.
We can't all do nyota.
Yes.
What else is he doing besides that?
You see, there is a huge confusion by an elite class of critics of this government that the housing project is for artisans and people who do mjengo.
Isn't it?
You should know that we have marketers. There are people who are marketing those houses. They are employed. We have engineers. We have
one project can only have maybe one engineer. That's why when you go to a project, my sister is in that industry, so I understand pretty well.
Now this is
one architect or maybe two at most.
This is what happens. The investors that are doing some of these projects, you find that we have a consortium of a group, for instance, or a body of government that has put its finances into this. And it comes with a whole ecosystem of people working in it. You have quantity surveyors, you have marketers selling these houses, engineers, you have plumbers. It's a mixture of every other professionals that work in these construction industries. Today, for the first time in the history of this country, Kenya looks like a construction site. The legacy of the president is spread across all counties. Something that people are not seeing could be because we had so many stalled projects in the previous administration in the name of roads. And already the Mau Summit Road that every other politicians kept on criticizing the government is coming up very well. We have the road that goes from Keno all the way to Marua. We have that one, and it's not
wasn't that a continuation of the previous government anyway?
Yes, and the challenge that we had in the previous administration is that
which the president was part of.
Yes, but you know what happened the last 2 years, and I was privy to what was going on.
He should have resigned.
They denied funding to those projects because somebody thought that the deputy president then wanted to use them for his election in 2027. They denied it funding, and what happened? They stalled. Who got the blame at the end of the day? Who was blamed?
It is the president.
Now,
not the current, the previous, because the administration was Uhuru. So let's not take blame from him. He also missed on several things.
Now for Kenya Kwanza, as I finish, so that I give him an opportunity. The intention has been to move this country with the decisions that have never been made. Historic decisions, by the way. People fear being criticized. No government has been as open to criticism as this one by the president. The first president in history
to send us Subarus.
To go to Twitter for 1.5 hours uninterrupted and take criticism from young people.
Maybe you should tell him to come here so that we can also get him. We have a lot of young people who want to hear from him.
This is the first administration that, for the first time, we've never had an opportunity where a major policy like tax has become a debate and the president listened to the young people and cancelled it.
Okay.
It has never happened.
There's enough praise for that. It was a first, yes, but it wasn't also out of choice. Fanya Mambo, he's explained several things that the president is doing or plans to do or has done. And the key thing that the president has always spoken about is he wants to make Kenya Singapore. Do you think with these projects we will be the Singapore that we have been promised? Shall we see the promised land?
First, you don't make Singapore by loitering all over the world. He's the most traveled president in the whole world. Wasting a lot of taxpayers' money. Kama hii Ethiopia alikuwa ameenda kufanya nini na private jet? To see dams, na sisi zetu Arora na Kimwarel zimesimama. I don't know who advises this president.
But you want our president not to go and invite us?
No, let me ask you. Why didn't they invite the presidents from other neighboring countries?
That's
because they know those presidents.
Not on us.
No, let me tell you. And we need to accept these things. If he wants to go there aende na Kenya Airways ama Ethiopian Airways, but you can't have him going on a private Emirati jet to Ethiopia here, wasting how many millions of shillings per hour, and we have other more urgent things here to go and see a dam. In fact, ile pesa ilienda ingejenga maybe a small micro dam somewhere. So that's something he should have watched on YouTube. You don't make Kenya Singapore by globetrotting. You make Kenya Singapore by starting to make decisions that make sense. One, when this administration came into power, simiti ilikuwa 600 bob. It's now 850 shillings. Why do you want to make cement expensive and then build houses for us? Bring down the cost of building materials. We shall build our houses. Nani alikwambia tunataka kukaa huko juu kama ndege? Kenyans want to build in their own ancestral homes. They want to build in their own ancestral land. Bring down the cost of cement. Bring down the cost of...
Maybe that is what they say is elitist ideas.
No. Kenyans have told you clearly. When you make mabati affordable, we shall build our own houses. When you make cement affordable, we shall build our own houses. That's why we call them avoidable houses, because we can avoid them. That's a program that is not helping us. Kenyans had other bigger problems that were more pressing than housing. I have always told people, you're a doctor, you come to your practice, you find that the reception has so many people and it is congested. And then in your thinking, you go and start increasing the size of the reception. It shows you are foolish. You don't need to increase the size of the reception. What you need to do is to ask, why are there so many people at the reception? It's not because the reception is small. It's because there is no efficiency happening within the consultation rooms. So you either increase the consultation rooms or you increase the efficiency of the consultation rooms. The houses we are building in the urban areas are a symbol. They are a sign that there is rural-urban migration. Now, why is there rural-urban migration? Nairobi, for example, is the capital city of this country. The highest GDP is here. Most of the construction is here. Most of the manufacturing is here. Normal countries don't have most of their manufacturers within the CBD. I mean, within the main capital city. When you look at Bidco, for example, the bulk of their manufacturing raw materials come from Uganda, soya, all those things. So what we needed to do, for example, is if you ask them, they'll tell you it probably have been easier for them to manufacture in Bungoma or Kakamega or that other side. What we need to do is not to build houses for people to come and continue congesting our cities. Is to ask, what is this that is attracting to people to the cities? And one of them is manufacturing. If we decentralize manufacturing, we don't need to build houses. So unakuta mtu hafikiri na anafikiria na anaambia watu wanafikiria akiwajengea nyumba. You are just like the same doctor. I didn't interrupt you. You are like the doctor who is increasing the size of the reception, and the problem is the consultation rooms. No, I don't want to learn from you because you are doing terrible things to this country and people hate your administration. No, you can't teach me. I refuse to be taught by you. Your people hate your administration. You can't teach me. I don't want to be taught by you. I don't want to hear from you. Let me tell you, Kariuki, go and tell the president that the challenge we have right now is not those houses he's building for us. We have a challenge of rural-urban migration. We have a challenge of concentration of factories and manufacturing in the wrong places. If we start making manufacturing work in other places other than Nairobi, even those houses, in fact, you'll start seeing the opposite. Urban, rural migration. So some of these things that you people are doing, you're doing because nitenda tu ni mkurafurahia mnafurahia. Tell us who is supplying timber to affordable housing. Kuja kwetu Ngong Forest. Misitu imekatwa yote. All our timber ilikuwa inamwagwa pale karibu na hii bar inaitwa it's called Hideout. And it was from Ngong Forest. And most of it was going to these affordable houses. Karura mumekata yote munapeleka timber kwa affordable houses. We don't need those avoidable houses. Stop cutting down our forests in the name of supplying timber to those houses that you are giving us. That's why we are telling you, unatuambia unatujengea nyumba na ni misitu zetu munakatakata ovyo ovyo. Haya, which nation developed by building stadia for their people? Do you know how many times a stadium is used in a year? No. Wewe, ati munakuja munatujengea stadium. The cost of building a stadium can do a lot for a nation. That money, if it had been used in a better way, if I was asked, do you build a stadium or do you build factories? I would build factories. Do you build a stadium or do you establish manufacturing? I would go into manufacturing. Nyinyi mnataka kutujengea stadium, mkuje mumachu uko na polisi, mufanye siasa, mumobilize watu, muwajaze kama vile mlijaza Homa Bay Stadium. Sasa hii Homa Bay Stadium inatumiwa na nani all those days later? Ilifanya one celebration.
Do you need more water? We can still get you. And meanwhile, tell us how we will get through Singapore.
I like it when the conversation actually shifts from you will not do it to why are you doing it? And it's exactly the point that he's trying to drive. And that's actually a good thing.
You have achieved, that's a plus.
I mean,
Achieved what? Built for us houses we don't want.
Now,
using our money against a court order.
I want to teach
on our land.
Because
you should be in jail.
He's working with my former boss, the former deputy president.
Your former boss is working with me.
Rigathi Gachagua.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a manifesto. And the victory, the resounding, I could use that word, the resounding victory.
It's cold.
That I needed warm. So the resounding victory that we got in 2022 against a sitting government, against all the forces of deep state, and against what I would call a protracted design of dictatorship. We got that victory based on a manifesto. And the houses that most of these people, including Rigathi Gachagua, who campaigned for Kenya Kwanza based on that manifesto, and he stood on platforms and said, we are going to build you these houses. That manifesto is what the people of Kenya gave the Kenya Kwanza administration an opportunity on. And the Kenya Kwanza administration is supposed to work towards fulfilling those promises.
Including stealing our forests. Is that a promise?
That in...
tell us about our forests.
In trying to get power or trying to capture power, you first build a plan. You say, this is what I want to do for the people of Kenya. But the first critic, who was actually a champion of affordable housing, has now turned critic, is not telling us an alternative that he has for that affordable housing.
He just said he would have the houses.
Now, why would he, in the first place, support the affordable housing program and be a champion of it? It means that people are doing politics that is not of principle. And this consistency, listen, this consistency in politics and the honesty in politics is what is lacking in some of these people. I will tell you, and that is why my generation, by the way, these young people, in as much as we sometimes are accused of being so critical of what goes on, there's something I want to give it to my generation. We have a clarity of thought, and we are consistent in what we say. Something that is lacking in some of these old politicians. And I want him to get an approach, that is independent, that is not led or influenced by somebody who says one thing today and says another tomorrow. He speaks from both sides of the mouth. Rigathi would have done better if he came and said, I started this whatever housing program. This is where it didn't work. I want to make it blah, 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 improve in this manner. Because he was one of the people who sat down to make it. So now coming out...
You're forgetting he found me fighting your houses.
Against this program is hypocritical.
You're forgetting he found us fighting your houses. When Rigathi was deputy president, I was fighting your houses.
This dishonesty has decimated trust.
Wait, I was fighting your houses when he was deputy president. So let that be clear.
No.
Mulianza hizo manyumba kitambo.
But you are now buying into an ideology.
He found me fighting those houses. How am I buying into his ideology?
You joined him, so you've bought into
He joined us in fighting your terrible administration.
You've joined an ideology of a person who we chased away because we didn't get the satisfaction.
You are speaking the truth and you hate the truth.
No. Rigathi Gachagua.
Yours is a government of lies.
No.
By lies.
Rigathi Gachagua
founded on lies.
Is in fact the worst deputy president or vice president that this country has had.
And William Ruto is the worst president we've had.
Because
you people are very interesting.
Because this is a person that was voted out by 3/4 of the people in parliament.
Paid parliament.
Representatives of the people.
Paid parliament.
This is a person
using our money
who was voted out by his own member of parliament.
Using our money. Paid
his
by
own senator at home.
But there were accusations that he said.
Women rep at home. all of us.
But did the money was money a factor?
We could not have been mad to be unable to work with Rigathi Gachagua, and it is spiraled all the way to even people who are close to him, including some of his advisors. They don't even see eye to eye today.
Okay.
There is something about a human being, a grown-up. If somebody wanted to make a decision otherwise from what most of us thought, they would have done that. And this is politics. People make choices and live with them. But Rigathi Gachagua could not mobilize his own MP, his own women rep, his own senator, his neighboring MPs.
He
all
didn't
of
have
them,
the money you people have stolen.
Now, you want to tell us that this is a person that every week when he speaks on studio, he speaks in every platform. His rhetoric is to divide Kenyans, and he's always, at all times, wanting to bring...
Mr. Kariuki, let me bring this
There's
to
something
order.
he's not getting. You see, no, allow me. Look here. There's something he needs to understand.
Which is?
When he speaks about Rigathi Gachagua, which he's entitled to say the things he's saying, he's defending an administration that in the last 3 years has killed more young people than Al-Shabaab. When we count the number of people who've died at the hands of Al-Shabaab, and the number of people who've died under your administration, your administration has killed more people than Al-Shabaab. So it's better off.
Today, I actually want to, I have never talked about this. I actually have been looking for an opportunity to talk about this.
Which is?
The opposition in Kenya has nothing at all in terms of agenda, and they don't even know what they want to take this country to. They have relied and ridden on that story of Maandamano for all this while. This is what I want to say.
Bring them back to life, we'll vote you.
While what happened was so unfortunate, the deaths that we saw.
Not what happened, what you did.
The confusion that was in this country. Every other person in government, the president included, has been on record as having said that what happened was unfortunate. And
you called us criminals.
He actually, wait, let me finish. And he actually formed a team led by Professor Makau Mutua to start a victims compensation program, which, by the way, is a start to that closure, even for the families that lost their loved ones. But that period was a period that every person in this country should understand had an interference of politics in it. It began as a conversation about tax and policy issues for this country. And then it morphed to a very different type of agitation, which was influenced politically.
No.
And I suspect, and everybody suspects, that Rigathi Gachagua was one of the architects of that anarchy. And that to date, the opposition keeps on trying to rub that whole thing on us.
His history cannot be erased, unfortunately.
And yet, the circumstances behind it was because there was a lot of political interference, and the process that had begun for young people marching to express themselves changed into something that most of us interpret today as an attempt to overthrow a democratically installed administration.
Okay, Fanya Mambo.
And that is why
this is a Gen Z.
That's why the opposition. That's why the opposition in Kenya
what do you feel?
must find something else.
No,
that
the
makes
opposition
sense to the people.
The opposition has said their agenda is one term.
Yes.
That is what you have said. You in government have said your agenda is 2 term plus other things.
No. Our agenda is not 2 term. Our agenda is to continue with
Abductions,
the employment of young people, to
fuel more
continue
Subarus,
with bringing down inflation from 2022 has gone down from 9.8%. We are at 3.8%. Our agenda is to improve the number of bags of fertilizer that have reached farmers from 400,000 last year to 500 this year.
Of gravel.
Okay,
To have
I might
more
not be-
teachers,
I might-
more than 76,000 teachers.
That's okay. Let's put that
the cost of
to
living,
oppose the numbers because I do not have them as yet.
To improve our relations with our international partners. He said
At a cost
that the
of 300
president is the
million.
most traveled president. I want to tell him, and I want to answer him on that particular question. The president has, and it's on record, the tours that he's made to China, and actually let me point out China, has brought more benefits than the costs that he's talking about. The trips that he has made to the United Nations General Assembly has also, in fact, do you know,
No,
there is a
wait
coalition
first, before you get
of
there,
champions of affordable housing.
Which is okay. Let me ask, when you see, because we've seen the young people mostly were the ones that were on the street. Because Kariuki is a Gen Z. When you see him speak about things and the achievements of the president, do you feel he's genuine? And why do you think then there's a group of young people who feel the president has achieved while there's another one that doesn't feel the same?
You see, Kariuki is looking for enmity between himself and young people. You can't come and tell young people who offered themselves to go to the streets at no cost. They used to pay their own Uber. That there was Rigathi Gachagua involved. That's why young people went to the streets. The young people went to the streets out of their own volition. In fact, hii ndio akili ya KJ, UMP wetu, kuambia young people ni Photoshop, na kuambia they were abducting themselves and taking themselves to their girlfriends' houses. Our young people were genuine in their pursuit for what they wanted. And our young people knew what they were looking for, and they were not influenced by politicians to do that. If anything, you know, these people, one thing they've never accepted.
Do you have an agenda besides one term?
Yes, we do.
What?
And I'll explain to you. The agenda here is restoration. It's the only agenda. The only way to restore, for example, wait. The only way to restore NHIF, which was working, is to remove Ruto and his SHA, because it's a money-stealing conduit. That's number one. Number two, the only way to restore Kenya back to dignity, the dignity of our schools having capitation, is to remove William Ruto, because William Ruto has been stealing our money that was going to capitation for schools. You see, you have to realize one thing, that Kenya had working systems before you people came with terrible stealing schemes, because these are terrible stealing schemes. And the only way to make sure that we revert back first to NHIF, we remove this stupid thing called university funding model and revert back to HELB, which was working, is to remove those people who've brought these systems. They have brought these systems with an ideal idea of stealing from us. So you cannot come and say that removing William Ruto is not an agenda. It is actually the biggest agenda. Because when you remove the obstacle, when you remove the person who brought SHA, you go back to normal, Kenyans will be happy. No. When you remove William Ruto and go back to a system like the school capitation system that was working, then you have a nation. So the first and the most important agenda is to remove a president who kills young people. Look here, you cannot return back the lives of the young people we lost. So you cannot come and tell us that removing William Ruto is not an agenda. It is the principal agenda. It is the most important agenda, because the protection of the lives of young people will lie with a president who is not William Ruto.
You see,
now we've got a new Subarus. Wewe ngoja. Mulileta masubaru hatujaiona hii Kenya. Mpya hazina number plate with only one mandate. Abduct young people, make them disappear, take them to Central Police Station, say they banged their head on a wall, say they died out of killing themselves. Now, removing William Ruto is a very important agenda, because it brings us back sanity. So, usijaribu kutuambia hiyo sio agenda. Nyinyi mko na yenyu, tuko na yetu.
The opposition in Kenya has
Ati munataka tuanze kuongea juu ya houses. They are very clever. You know why they want us to talk about houses and schools and all those things? It's because they know the cancer is William Ruto. They don't want us to discuss Ruto.
You see, the opposition in
we
Kenya,
will discuss him. He's the cancer.
The opposition in
we'll
Kenya,
remove him,
led by him, is actually proving to us what we've been suspecting all this while.
Which is?
We got ourselves in the same situation that they are in, sometimes 2 years to the 2022 election. We were in opposition. We were people who were not with Uhuru that time. And a difference between us then and them, theirs is negation. They are saying they want to negate. Ours, we were saying this is what we want to do for Kenyans on housing, on agriculture, on education, on youth, on this. They have no such agenda on every of these important items for Kenyans.
We do.
This makes the whole difference.
But
now, the reason
when we
why
say we are
I'm laughing,
returning NHIF, is it that an agenda?
The reason why I'm laughing is because that these people are not people who are ready for taking up the leadership of this country.
No.
We always say, and we used to be told,
when we say we are grounding Subarus,
opposition is always an alternative government in waiting. Now, I have been looking at Rigathi. These people, Fanya Mambo here, they are MPs, everybody trying to grasp what this alternative that they want to bring to this country for Kenyans to listen to them. And I have had none. He's been talking of taking back NHIF, taking back. He doesn't bring an alternative that can challenge our programs to say that this is better done this way.
We have said
But let me ask,
One of the first
why do you want the opposition to give you an agenda? They're not entitled to serve the people.
For us, politics is a competition of ideas.
Yeah.
And we needed them to actually come and tell Kenyans that our idea on this.
But who has said they want to do it? Maybe when their time, do you have a time?
Yes.
This is the same empty rhetoric kind of.
It's not empty. They have had an agenda.
The agenda is to remove. They are saying the agenda is to remove the president. Then what?
Okay, then what?
I have told him they've had a program of abducting young people. When we remove Ruto, that program dies. Because our young people will not die anymore. They will not be abducted. They will not bang their heads on central police station walls. That is a very critical agenda for every Kenyan. In fact, ukiuliza wa Kenya watakwambia, before you build a road, before you build a school, before you build a hospital,
I now understand.
Kataza DCI.
Let him finish.
Kataza DCI kuua watoto wetu. That is the most critical agenda that we've always had. That we are going to bring back the sanctity of the lives of young people. Number two, we are saying, because our women are being detained in hospitals and videos are there, because cancer patients are having all these problems, we want to bring, why didn't we ever see those demonstrations during NHIF? We want to bring back NHIF and remove this SHA, which is a stealing scheme. Uliona zile hospitali zinapewa pesa? Uliona wale wanapewa pesa? So we know it was a conduit they had created to steal money. So when we say we are returning NHIF, they don't want that. Hawataki tuongee, you wanataka kusema hiyo si agenda because it hurts them. Because that's where they are stealing from us. When we say that our schools are not getting capitation, shule mpaka zinafunga mapema, zingine watoto wako na njaa, wanafukuzwa every other day. When we tell them that we want to bring back the normal university funding model, hawataki. Right now, how many lecturers are on strike? Every other university student is on strike because William Ruto is president. So removing William Ruto as president takes sanctity back because ile pesa munaiba ingekuwa inalipa walimu. Look again, Kiambu, level 4 hospital. Look at how many children have died within Kiambu itself. And one of the reasons they are saying is because SHA is not paying, is because hospitals cannot be able now to be able to buy more supplies. They don't even have gloves. So utaguza mtoto yenyewe ukue mgonjwa as a medic, you don't. So when you come and say that this national government is not even channeling money to the counties, and then we come and say that our agenda is restoration, start giving money back to the counties, they say that is not an agenda. It is an agenda, and I have told you the biggest agenda. When you remove William Ruto, 99% of the problems we have in this country will come to an end.
Okay.
So we will remove him. That is the biggest agenda.
They have no agenda.
It is the most important agenda.
New that they are telling.
Guys, I feel like we will.
It is the most important
keep on this 1 term, 2 term, and it's not adding value per se. But I would want to, as we come to an end, I would want us to understand something. We have political parties in Kenya. You're in UDA. You're in DCP. How different are these parties, and how important is it for the youth to join, and why? Why UDA? Why DCP? Yeah.
So I start.
Yes, you can go.
Right. UDA party is so far the most popular party, according.
That's a research.
The latest, yes.
They inverted.
And we have grown into a national party that has the highest number of members as we speak.
But they state the percentage. State the percentage.
You can confirm with registrar of political parties.
You said it's the highest. Just say the percent. Just say the percent. No, he has to say the percent.
Okay, give us the percentage then. Fair enough.
No,
at what percent?
You said it's the highest. At what percent?
It's the most popular party according to that research.
At what percent?
At 9 points.
Thank you.
No, not 9. At 14.6%. If I'm not wrong.
Thank you.
14 out of 100.
I need to confirm.
That's the highest.
Yes, it's the highest.
The research.
It was actually 22.
No, I'm shocked.
It was 22.
Listen.
I'm not disputing your party.
22.
I'm just shocked. The numbers are low.
ODM has 14 point something percent.
They are at 22.
And then there is another one there at 9%. Now, this
and the 9% is who?
I think it's either DCP or I can't really tell. But the reason why young people should join UDA and why UDA is different. First of all, UDA is a socio-democratically, ideologically driven party, which is a party that speaks for those in society that wants to come up. You can compare it with the Labour Party in Britain. It's a party that advocates for the rights of the working class at the bottom, working class at the middle here, and its ideology is based on bringing about social and economic transformation for the people. We have previously been members of Jubilee, actually, most of us, which was a more conservative party. UDA wanted to change the status quo, and that's why today the resistance that you are hearing from opposition is because these people wanted to be comfortable. That is the work of the conservatives. They don't want change. They want us to think the same way, be at the same point, and they want status quo to remain. The president has actually challenged that, and he makes decisions that people might see as decisions that are not normal, but they are meant to make a long-term change. A socio-democratically aligned party wants to improve the living condition of their people. And that's why the policies that UDA advocates for, talks for the hustlers, the mama bogas, the business people, the boda, the SACCOs, all these people that come together trying to make it in life. Our difference with every other party is, number one, that we engage in dialogue. Last year, we just finished a conversation with university students across the country. My party moved to all regions of this country, engaging the comrades who are Gen Zs in a conversation to understand what their views are. My party believes in collaborations. It's been working very closely with even political parties that are beyond the borders of Kenya. It's had certain partnerships with the UK, had partnerships with China, had partnerships with CCM and other political parties that are like-minded for social change. UDA is a democratic party. We believe in the social democracy that we preach about. Our conversation on economic transformation is based on better bottom-up economic approach, which actually informs on some of the decisions that are made each and every day at the party. The president, because he's a party leader, is a social democrat, and he believes that the living condition of the people of Kenya has to change. He believes that this country has to change for the better. The UDA party has a working manifesto. It gives space for young people. We are on course with engagement every day. We have elections. We have nominations, which proves that we have our own internal democracy taking shape. We've allowed candidates to do their nominations and we get the best. We have also ensured that the place of people with disabilities is protected. We have the Secretary General engaging on items like free speech, engaging on items like human rights. Himself, he was part of the people who delivered the current state of the activism society in Kenya. He used to work for Kenya Human Rights Commission, and he's a social democrat himself, and speaks to part of what he is and what he practices.
Okay.
Again, lastly,
Yes.
the UDA party is building a political academy for the young people to teach them to teach them the ideology of UDA, what social democracy is, to have a deeply entrenched ideology on where the president wants to take this country, so that the party can transcend our own lives and go for as many years as possible.
Okay. DCP.
He started by telling us that their party stands at 22 percentage points. At the time they were going for election 3 years ago, they were at 46%.
No, do you know that
Wait.
is relative?
Did I interfere with you?
Respondents.
No.
Obviously, it's
It's
a
not
research.
all
It's, so yeah, let's.
You're the one who brought that story up.
Yes.
Okay, you are the one who told us about that research because you believe in it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you wouldn't mention it. So, a party that has lost by 100% in terms of its popularity, from 46% to 22%, that is more than 100% loss in terms of popularity. And I can assure you, before the end of this year, it's going to have lost a lot more. We started at 0% 3 months ago because there was no DCP. We're at 9%. In 3 months, we're happy. I mean, in 3 years, maybe they are maybe 4 or 5 years old, they're at 22%. In 3 months, we're at 9%. We're extremely happy with our performance. And we know it could be higher, but of course, they are the ones who hired the opinion poll. Anyway, ours is simple. We are yet to build that comprehensive manifesto, and I'll tell you why. When you're 3 months in and you're building up manifesto, it means you're building it from your heads. Our motto is Skiza Ground. To you on Monday, we are looking forward to going to Isiolo. We are looking forward to going all the way to the Upper Eastern. We are looking forward to going even Nyanza. We've done Kakamega, it was successful. We've done Bungoma, it was successful. And so for us as a party, it would be unwise for us to come and gloat and brag and say, we have built a party manifesto. The one thing we are doing is we are keenly listening. We are engaging Wananchi. We are going to where they are. So that whatever manifesto we are going to come up with a party is reflective. The only thing I can say is that we have pillars and principles. And some of them include that we shall not kill people the way they have been killed by this administration. We shall be truthful to the people. And most importantly, what they tell us to do is what we shall do. So I'll end it there and say that we are a young party, but we are a party that is listening. We are going to the people, we are picking their views, and we are trying to put them together, and we shall come up with something that is reflective of what the people will tell us over. So ukisikia tumeenda Mlolongo, we are not just going to Mlolongo. We are picking the views of the people in Mlolongo. Ukisikia tumeenda na huku wametumwagia vijana waturushie mawe, but either way they still talk to us and we still get to hear what is at the heart of everything. So the DCP, everything will come out pretty soon, but it will be reflective of our engagements with Wananchi throughout this period and what we've heard from them.
You should have added that the party leader is clueless. He's a dictator.
You cannot speak for him.
He's bitter. I used to work with him.
But you can't speak for
I
him
have
for
the
now.
advantage of working with Rigathi and William Ruto. And I can tell you, to manage
But he will
party,
also say the same about the president.
No,
so we can't keep doing...
He reads on newspapers and he reads on social media. I have sat with these two people. Rigathi is a terrible dictator. In fact,
No.
One of the consequences that I know Fanya Mambo will have in the long run, and he will come to us and he will tell us here, is to regret on why he decided to work with that person.
The same way you regret.
Because Rigathi doesn't actually believe in people who...
No. Let's not discuss my party leader because he's not here.
No. Rigathi doesn't like people who challenge whatever he's doing. If you don't align to his dictatorial mindset...
At least he doesn't abduct you like your boss abducts those people who disagree with him.
What would be your message to the president, given a chance today? If you were to sit with the president today, what would be your message?
I would tell him something very simple. William Samoei Ruto, Kenyans are not happy with you. Wait for 2027. Don't offer yourself. Full stop. Don't offer yourself. Kenyans don't want you.
That's it.
And if you really must offer yourself, bring back to life all the young people who've died. then we can consider electing you.
The political tsunami that William Ruto is bringing to this country. And the change in perception and mindset. We're going to have a paradigm shift in the way Kenyans think.
Okay.
And why? Because many people did not believe that.
I think you're delusional. Have you had a mental check of late?
They did not believe that we can have the capacity to employ 76,000 teachers. They did not believe that. They never accept that.
They never accept. And that is okay for Kenyans not to. Kenyans do not have to believe in everything you say or I say.
The good thing, Kalonzo, who we know,
hizi zilikuwa zinapeanwa na Toto appointment letters kwa rally,
be endorsed by Rigathi Gachagua to be the presidential candidate for that side. Where he comes from, the road that goes to his home has never been tarmacked. Kalonzo was a minister, I think, in the 80s.
Yes.
I was not born.
Yes.
He was a minister when I was being born. He still and calls himself a leader of opposition to date. And his home in Saikuru, the road there is dusty. Yesterday, he admitted, there's a clip, by the way, online. He said that the president has done so much, but he's not going to accept that is done because that is the right of Kenyans. The conversation in opposition when we began was they are not going to do it. Right now, they're asking us, why are you doing it?
Okay, I have a question for you. What is the message that the president has told you to give Kenyans in 1 minute? And this one I'm timing.
Now,
because we are overrunning.
The country has to change. Decisions will have to be made. Sometimes these are going to be hard decisions. But for the people of Kenya, the president is mindful of the state of the economy. He approves the conversations that go on every day to try and check the government and make the conversation better. Yesterday, he admitted, or 2 days ago, he said that Kenyans are not wrong when they critique how things are being done by the government, which shows the willingness and the openness that the president has to make things better through conversation, through consultations, and getting feedback from his citizens. Lastly, he is going to be, he's going to be addressing all these challenges based on the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. And that is what he's always done. He's not going to drift away, whether the people in opposition make noise and everybody else is, trying to distract him. He's a man on a mission. And I am sure by the time we get to 2027, because they have zero agenda, they don't know what they want to do, we shall beat them again.
Okay. Thank you very much. You will beat them again. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through and sharing your ideas. Fanya Mambo, why do you look like you want to say something?
I just want to tell you. Yes.
Okay. Reset. 1 minute. We are closing.
But next time, makuje na agenda.
It's very simple. We have told them that we have one principal agenda. And don't tell us our agenda is... we have not come to tell you your agenda is wrong. Your housings, I don't know, those vitu mnatuambia.
So not wrong.
We have not told you your agenda is wrong. So don't tell us our agenda is wrong of taking... Wait, I have 1 minute. Listen here. You have told us you have agenda, sijui ya walimu, sijui ya mambo ingine hata it makes sense. We have not interrupted your agenda. Our agenda is to take William Ruto home. That is number one agenda. So don't tell us it is a bad agenda. It is a good agenda. Because once we take William Ruto home, something will happen in this country. Restoration. Restoration of the dignity of our young children from being killed in police station. Restoration of NHIF. Restoration of HELB, which was working. Restoration of our health system. We shall have more money going to Kenyatta Hospital as opposed to more money going to some funny hospital somewhere in a corner of this country that we do not know who it treated when and where and how. So we shall have a country where we don't have a government that kills more people than Al-Shabaab. So we have a good agenda, and the agenda is to take William Ruto home.
Okay.
No agenda at all.
Thank you very much for watching. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time here. Of course, Fanya Mambo is the next MP for
Dagoretti
South.
Yes.
KARIUKI NGUNJIRI is the youth and political affairs head at UDA party. It's been a fantastic one on Head to Head. We'll catch you on the next one. And sure, we'll have these two again soon. See you, and thanks for watching.